practitioner in the Here for Health team. My colleague Natanari, who you just heard, she'll be supporting me through this presentation, checking the chat box, because you may be aware that now that I'm sharing my screen, I can't actually see anybody. So I'll be relying on sounds to indicate whether people are happy for me to go on. Enjoying a healthy Christmas, eat, drink, and be merry. That's the theme. I've got quite a lot to cover, so I shall not rush through it, but go through it quite quickly and try and speak as clearly as possible, because I do have a tendency to speak very fast. As Natanari said, this session will be recorded up until the question and answer section. So, for those of you who may not be aware of who Here for Health are, maybe you haven't attended one of these webinars before, we're a health improvement lifestyle service based in OUH, and we support patients, staff and visitors on a variety of lifestyle topics. So that's stopping smoking, weight management, reducing drinking, healthy eating, chronic disease risk assessment, and a lot more. We're very happy to be working in partnership with PsychMed to support staff in their health and well-being for these particular webinars. This is a summary of our service here. Looking at this model, you can either self-refer or be referred by a professional. Our approach is very much based on the individual. It's a person-centered approach, meaning that we focus on what your health goals are, what's important to you, what you want to change, how you want to go about it, what support you feel you will need to be able to make those changes. And we also have links with community services, so we can either refer or signpost you to local services so that you can access support closer to home. Even if people live out of area, so if you're referring a patient, we can also refer to services in their local area, as well as provide follow-up. At the moment, we are offering a hybrid service, so people can drop in, or we can do telephone or video consultation. If you have a patient that you want to refer to our service, you can either use EPR. In requests and prescribing, type refer to health and wellbeing and then make the referral there. You can email using our email address or call us internally on that number there. So getting on to the main topic, enjoying a healthy Christmas. Christmas is usually a time when we get into the festive spirit. We drink, we eat, and we get a bit merry. This year might be a little different, however, due to COVID. We may not be feasting on buffets, going out, socializing, drinking at the pub so much. Nonetheless, we may find ourselves indulging more at home in a box of chocolates or, a bottle of wine. And in today's session, I'm going to be looking at 4 areas of lifestyle, so eating, alcohol, physical activity, and self-care for well-being. And if you're happy doing what you're doing, that's fine. However, if you want to make some changes, then the idea is that this presentation will just give you a few pointers for a few changes that you can make along the way. And then I'm very excited about my Christmas emoji challenge at the end, followed by question and answer. So I'll be using a quiz format in the festive spirit to get you thinking about your own habits over Christmas. So how healthy are you at Christmas? According to the British Dietetics Association, people can eat approximately 6,000 calories on Christmas Day. That's 3 times more than would normally be recommended, at about 2,000. And apparently we can gain between 1 to 5 pounds over the period between Christmas and New Year. Now, as I said, if that's fine with you, that's okay. But if you do want to make some changes, then there are healthy choices that people can make within those. So question 1. What I'd like you to do is just think about your own answers in your head. This isn't for you to necessarily write in a chat box. There will be some questions that I would like your comments on, and I'll let you know when those are. But for now, just think about these for yourself. So question 1, how many mince pies or festive treats do you eat at Christmas? A, it's not Christmas without a box of mince pies, or 10. B, at least 1 every day in December. C, I'll have 1 for each of the 12 days of Christmas. D, I keep them for a treat when people come over. If you do want to share in the chat box, please do feel free to do so, and Nat can let me know what people say. But if not, I shall just carry on. Nat, is there anything in the chat box?
No comments so far.
Okay, so people are just thinking about what they do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
fine, I shall continue. So there's nothing wrong with indulging in mince pies, obviously, but they're best enjoyed just as a treat because we know that mince pies can be high in sugar due to the mincemeat or the suet and also in saturated fat. So one way, if somebody wants to reduce perhaps the saturated fat or the sugar content of their mince pie, they may go for an option that doesn't have a pastry covering, or they may go for a smaller mince pie. The I can't remember, is it British Dietetic Association have said that an average mince pie may have about 253 calories, whilst a mini pie has 87 calories. So quite a big difference there. Question 2. What do you pour over your Christmas pudding? A, custard, B, single cream, C, brandy butter, or D, double cream? Again, feel free to write in the chat box, but you don't have to.
No comment.
Anybody offering anything, Nat?
No, there's no comment in the chat box.
Okay, well, Christmas pudding, we know it's a calorific dessert, comes with extra energy dense things like brandy butter. However, some of these can be quite high in saturated fat and sugar. So in order to reduce the amount of saturated fat, somebody might choose to go for single cream rather than double cream, or they may opt for, if they're making homemade custard, perhaps use skimmed or semi-skimmed milk, or quite often the shop bought varieties can vary in their sugar or saturated fat content, so it's worth checking labels just to see which version might offer a lower saturated fat content. So that's just one way that you could think about reducing those calories over Christmas if you choose to. And low-fat Greek yogurt is also another option. And obviously, again, these are all things that are enjoyed in moderation, so just think about portion sizes. Question three. How do you roast your potatoes? A, with duck or goose fat, B, with butter, C, with lard, or D, with olive oil or vegetable or sunflower oil? I take it we don't have anything in the box.
Just waiting. There was a comment from the previous slide.
Okay.
That said custard. That took a while to come, and Ellie has also said sunflower for this slide. Sunflower oil.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So unsaturated oils like olive oil and sunflower oil are best for roasting, just because animal fats like the lard and the goose fat, they're particularly high in saturated fat when compared to the vegetable oils. An example is 100 grams of goose fat actually contains 22 grams of saturated fat compared to 6.6 grams of saturated fat in the equivalent of rapeseed oil, or 12 grams of saturated fat in sunflower oil. Another option there is to actually cut potatoes, your roasting potatoes, a bit bigger into larger chunks, and then this will absorb less fat than the smaller ones. Question 4. How often do you eat fruit and veg during December? A, never, B, every day, C, 4 to 5 times a week, or D, 1 to 3 times a week? I'll just carry on. Whilst there are lots of sweet treats around Christmas, it's important to remember the fruits and vegetables. You know, the guidelines are 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, so we want to stick to that as much as possible. Obviously, they're great in terms of the vitamins and minerals to help keep us well and healthy. Christmas drinks. What's your choice of drink during the cold winter evenings? Is it hot chocolate, mulled wine, glass of wine or beer, or tea or coffee? And by the way, I should say some of these questions are from the British Heart Foundation website, where they had a Christmas quiz. So the ones at the beginning are theirs, the ones at the end are mine. So let me give credit where credit is meant to be given. Nat, what's your favourite?
Tea.
Tea. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, great. I mean, around Christmas, we might find we're tempted to have a bit more hot chocolate and mulled wine than usual. And again, it's fine in moderation. If people are wanting to reduce, they may consider perhaps just keeping it as a treat, because they can be very high in sugar. The maximum recommended for an adult a day of free sugars is actually 28 grams of added sugar, and a shop bought hot chocolate can be half of that already. So the alcohol, obviously, in wine or beer, we also need to think about, and we'll come to that in the next section. But if it's an everyday drink, your teas or your coffees are good options if you're looking to reduce the sugar. Question 6. What about other Christmas nibbles? This is open to the people who are listening. What's your approach to eating your Christmas extras in a healthy way, like your cheeses, your nuts, your chocolates? Any comments about how you enjoy those over Christmas? What are some of your ideas for enjoying these in a healthy way? Anything?
Just waiting for some comments. Yeah, we've got one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Ellie would like some ideas about how, healthy ways on how to eat cheese.
Excellent. Thank you, Ellie. So cheeses can be high in saturated fat, and obviously around Christmas, Stilton and Brie are particularly tempting, and there are lots of it around. One option, that's the phone ringing on the computer. Can you hear that, or you can't hear that?
I just muted that because it rang for me as well.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm just checking. I'm just letting you know that if it's distracting you, that's because it's coming through on the. I should talk over it.
No, I can't
so
hear
saturated.
it from you.
So cheeses are high in saturated fat. An option can be to opt for reduced fat options. So, for example, you reduce fat cheddar, or things like Edam and goat's cheese. Those are naturally lower in saturated fat. Some people put butter on their biscuits before they have the cheese. You may want to avoid having the butter. Be mindful of portion sizes, a matchbox size, or your finger. I don't know if you can see me, but your middle finger and your index finger, that's actually considered to be a portion of cheese. And I watched a webinar which rated what that 30-gram portion of cheese looks like, just to give you an idea of when you are eating cheese, what would be considered a portion size. So going for reduced fat options and just keeping those extra fat ones for a treat can be a way to reduce that. A couple other things are with the crackers, going for a plain water biscuit or a high fiber wheat cracker rather than the butter puffs is also another way to reduce the fats when you're eating a cheese board. And again, the chutney can be quite high in salt and sugar, so opting for a apples or grapes is one way to reduce the salt and sugar. Does that answer your question, Ellie? I hope that gives you some ideas.
That's
in terms
of thanks. That was loads.
In terms of nuts, obviously unsalted variety is a healthy option because it has less salt, and some of the Christmas ones come with sugar as well. Actually, sticking to what's considered portion size, which might be 30 grams, even though they're healthy fats, they are still fat. And also buying them in the shell and cracking them is a way to reduce the amount you may consume as well, because it takes time to shell them and eat them, and then naturally you end up consuming less than if you just pick up a handful of peanuts or pistachios, when it's very easy to consume quite a lot. With regards to chocolates, again, just be mindful of the sugar in those. If you're wanting to reduce that, having a couple, it's about 87 calories if you're interested in calories. And some people find that closing the box or putting it out of sight where they can't see it helps them to avoid temptation. But in terms of snacks, it's great to have other snacks around. For example, clementines or satsumas, chestnuts, which are the nuts that have the lowest saturated fat, and things like popcorn, pretzels, or vegetables with dips. So there are lots of snacks around at Christmas. So very quickly, some other strategies that people find helpful for having a healthy Christmas are starting the day with a healthy breakfast. For example, pancakes and banana, or porridge and fruit helps to keep you satisfied throughout the day, along with well-timed snacks. So then it's not so tempting to go for those chocolates or the things that you might want all the time. So including healthy, well-timed snacks is a good option. Making healthy swaps, so some of the things we talked about, so in terms of the oil or in terms of custards. Comparing nutrition labels for the shop bought foods, so for example your mince pies. Being mindful of portion sizes, whether that's peanuts or cheese. Remember to aim for your 5 a day, and also remember to think about drinks, including keeping hydrated on 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Okay, you all happy for me to move on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so alcohol. What's your favorite Christmas tipple? You're welcome to write it in the chat box if you'd like. A survey commissioned by DrinkAware found that almost 2/3, that's 61% of drinkers in the UK, claim that they overindulge in alcohol over the festive season. Whilst COVID-19 restrictions might mean that we're not drinking out in pubs as much, and obviously now that we've got lockdown, even over that 5-day period, we're not going to be drinking out. We may find that we are in fact drinking more at home. So with that in mind, I have this question for you. How much alcohol do you drink over the Christmas period? These questions now are going to relate to 4% beer and 175 ml glass of wine. So A, none or less than 14 units a week, which is the equivalent to 6 pints of beer or 6 glasses of wine. B, 15 to 21 units a week, so 9 pints of beer or 13 glasses of wine. 22 to 28 units a week, which is 12 pints or 12 glasses of wine, or more than 29 units. Does anybody want to share, or has anybody written in the chat box, Nat?
Yeah, so we've got Chris and Ellie who said that they drink gin and tonic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. In a minute, I'll show you the how many units are in a typical gin, a measure of gin. But for now, yeah, just keeping in mind that question, let's move on to the UK alcohol guidelines. Some of you may already be aware of this. National guidelines recommend that both men and women drink no more than 14 units of alcohol a week, and that we spread it out over 3 or more days, and that we include several alcohol-free days per week. So it could be you have a couple of pints on a Tuesday, a couple of wines on the Friday, and a couple more on Sunday. So even though it's Christmas, we're still keeping in mind those recommendations. We know that too much alcohol can lead to raised blood pressure as well as increased weight, which then has an effect on increases the risk of diabetes, stroke, and lots of other health conditions. Just so that you can, you may or may not already be aware of how many units are in the drinks you particularly like, but I'll give you a couple of seconds to look at that slide and see, so that you can compare. You can see a medium glass of wine there is 2.3 units, pint is 2.8. So alcohol reduction strategies. You can type in the chat box now, what are some of your ideas for reducing alcohol, your alcohol intake, if you were choosing to? If you wanted to reduce it, how would you go about reducing it over, it doesn't have to be over the Christmas period, but over any time. Any ideas being shared about reducing alcohol intake?
Yeah, so we've got having a single shot instead of a double.
Great. Yeah, anything else?
Other alternate drinks.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So those are some of the things we have here. So be drink aware and sort of sticking within the guidelines, 14 a week. The DrinkAware app is quite useful for checking or tracking and recording how many units you drink a week. Allocate alcohol-free days, downsize drinks, so switching from pint to half a pint, or measuring your Baileys or whatever you enjoy at home rather than just pouring it. Trying no or low alcohol alternatives. There are lots of alcohol-free wines and beers. Obviously, we still need to be mindful of sugar if we're thinking about that. Alternate alcoholic drinks with water or sugar-free drinks. So always having perhaps a jug of water on the table is a good idea. And just remembering to drink plenty of water and stay hydrated, because rehydration may help to reduce the effects of a hangover. Okay. That's that section. So moving on to physical activity, I am really interested to hear people's comments on this. How will you stay fit this Christmas? Please write or share in the chat box if you would like to.
So we've got kitchen dancing.
Kitchen
really
dancing.
Lovely idea.
Great, I like that. While you're cooking, while you're eating. Yep, good idea. Anything else?
Walking as well.
Yep, great. Okay, good. So
just running.
Yep, good. Okay, so I had a few just pictures here of different activities people might do. So with the running, I have an interesting fact to share, which Nat Nari shared with me just yesterday, and I'm going to read it actually. It's from the WHO Mythbuster about COVID-19. I don't know whether any of you that are present are runners and what you think about wearing masks. However, if you are runners, I'm reading this from the WHO website, people should not wear masks while, it would help if I knew where my other page was, while exercising, as masks may reduce the ability to breathe comfortably. Sweat can make the mask become wet more quickly, which makes it difficult to breathe and promotes the growth of microorganisms. The important preventive measure during exercise is to maintain physical distance or at least 1 meter from others. So just to bear that in mind, if you are a runner, it's advisable not to wear your mask. I included this because lots of people might get exercise gear for Christmas. It may stay under the tree or they might use it. Maybe some people might watch some YouTube videos with Joe Wicks. He's been very popular over lockdown. And I liked this picture because I thought it reminds me of me exercising in my home. I just put on the laptop, put on some music, get my weights and do a workout to some free something that might be there. So I think a few additional tips. Over Christmas, a lot of people perhaps say they don't have any time, but somebody's already mentioned going out for a walk, which is a great idea. And if you can do that with their family, it becomes social as well. Taking screen breaks is really important as well. We may sit in front of the TV for a lot longer, but we know that being sedentary can have an impact on our health. So some people set a challenge to perhaps halve their screen time. For those people who already work out, they may be inclined to perhaps forget their strength training, but it's still advisable to perhaps do that by climbing stairs or perhaps doing shorter, more intense workouts, which will still give you the same benefit. Just some ideas there. The physical activity guidelines, some of you may be already aware, recommend that we move every day. Some activity is better than none, and still more is even better. And 150 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise, plus 2 days of strength training is what is recommended. And we know that this will help to reduce many conditions, including sort of mental health problems, as well as some of the physical health aspects. And we should minimize the time that we are sedentary per day. So this is quite a useful breakdown from the British Nutritional Foundation, which shows you for 30 minutes of a particular activity, how many calories you burn and what that is the equivalent to in food, and particularly in festive foods. So for example, doing 30 minutes of ironing burns 69 calories, which then is the equivalent to 2 vegetable spring rolls. At the other end, you've got 30 minutes of running, that's about 6 miles per hour, which burns 300 calories and is the equivalent to a portion of Christmas pudding. And this is for somebody who's approximately 60 kilos is what these conversions are aimed at. So I've got vacuuming there, aerobic dancing and swimming. The 3 foods I've got 2 glasses of champagne, I have 2 mini sausage rolls, and I have a luxury mince pie. What do you think goes with what? So doing 30 minutes of vacuuming is equivalent to burning what? Is it 2 glasses of champagne, luxury mince pie, or 2 mini sausage rolls? What do people think for vacuuming, aerobic dancing and swimming? Please feel free to type in the chat box.
Just waiting for some comments, Natasha.
Yep. I'll remind them of the foods. It's 2 mini sausage rolls, 2 glasses of champagne, 1 luxury mince pie.
Okay, I've got a comment from Emma. So 2 sausage rolls is for vacuuming.
Okay, great. Thank you, Emma. That's correct. Anything from anyone else?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. Okay, well, I shall put you out of your misery and let you know. Emma's right with the 2 small sausage rolls. 2 glasses of champagne is equivalent to 30 minutes of Zumba or aerobic running, and 30 minutes of swimming at a medium speed is the equivalent to a luxury mince pie. So that can be quite helpful to thinking about how you might want to to divvy up your exercise and your food intake if this is something that you are looking at doing. Okay, moving on. So moderate physical activity. Physical activity can take a variety of forms. Although activity of any intensity provides health benefits, greater intensity provides more benefit for the same amount of time. So the government recommends that activities need to be at least moderate to vigorous intensity in order to achieve the full breadth of health benefits. If you're not already active and thinking about it, there are things like gardening or joining a walking club, things like that. Or if you are already active, then it's social sports or group team sports like football, hockey, all of those. Walking upstairs, those can be more intense activity if that's something that you are looking to do. For NHS staff, there is, you may already have seen it on the Wellbeing pages, the, what's it called, hashtag doing our bit, which is a resource specifically dedicated to NHS staff to support them in staying healthy. All you need is your OUH email address and you can access that via the Health and Wellbeing website, and it's lots of content on physical activity and exercise. There's also the NHS Fitness Studio, Better Health, 1U page. There are lots of resources available for people who are wanting to increase their physical activity. Ultimately, I think it's a case of enjoying your Christmas and yeah, getting some activity in there if and when you want to. And you can always give your body a rest and get ready for the new year. So, moving on, this is the final section before our emoji quiz, self-care for well-being. The national mental health charity Mind recognises that 2020 has been a year of anxiety and uncertainty for many people. And even without the COVID-19 pandemic, Christmas can be a very tricky time. This year in particular, people may experience a variety of emotions. It could be sadness, disappointment at either the loss of a loved one or not being able to take part in those activities that would normally bring us comfort and joy, whether it's a Christingle service or a carol service or something like that. Could be money worries due to redundancies or job insecurity. Could just be that you don't feel like celebrating Christmas at all. Mind asserts that it's definitely okay to feel that way. There's lots of support available, and those can be from things like the Mind website, could be the Samaritans, and also their self-care activities that individuals can do, including also things on the staff and wellbeing pages, health and wellbeing pages. Just a question for those who are listening. What ideas do you have? What do you do to look after your mental health during the holiday period? What would you advise a friend? To share some of your ideas in the box if you would like to. Let me know if anything comes now.
Yeah, just waiting at the moment. Yeah, so we've got go outdoors, reading.
Yep, great. Yeah, going outside is always a good one. Just clears your mind, puts you in natural environment. Great. Reading, another one that it's a bit of escapism. Great. The Mental Health Foundation, who are another national charity, some of their ideas were balance your sense of social obligations against your need for self-care. So even though we may not be having a massive, reunions, there still may be quite a lot of demands within our own households. Prioritize and tackle things one at a time. I think we can get bogged down with, oh, I need to do the Christmas shop, I need to cook that, need to do this, need to do all that, but just tackling them one at a time is helpful. Find time for yourself. It might be taking a long bath or going on an errand, but 5 minutes to yourself can be really helpful. I find for me that it's definitely really important, and going outside is the way I choose to do that. It just refreshes and gives me a new and different perspective and helps to build some of that resilience that has been covered in one of the previous webinars. And some of you may be familiar with the 5 Ways to Wellbeing, which are a set of evidence-based public mental health messages which are aimed at improving the mental health and wellbeing of the whole population. So we've got taking notice, being active, connecting, keep learning, and giving. These are all elements that have been shown to benefit our mental well-being if we're able to practice and engage with them. The Mind website has come up with some ideas specifically for Christmas. I'm sure lots of you would have your own ideas, but in terms of enjoying nature, taking notice, if you're not able to get out, it could be watching a nature documentary, Get active, perhaps take a walk to see some Christmas lights or window displays in a neighbourhood. I did that with my children yesterday, actually. It was really nice just to see different, we decided whether we liked yellow lights or white lights and who had the best display. They didn't realise it was just my way of getting them out of the house and getting them to do some physical activity, but it was a nice experience. Connect with people, so exchange letters and cards with friends. Could be arranging a FaceTime, doing something together online, watching a game together, attending a virtual quiz. Learn something new, for example, a recipe or craft, and find purpose and community. For example, supporting a local charity with a Christmas project. And a lot of people work at food banks and things like that. So those are all some ideas to share with you this Christmas. I think valuable and important advice for this year in particular. I know lots of people in the hospital are under a lot of pressure, but just be gentle, generous and patient with yourself and sort of try to remember that. So that brings us on to the emoji challenge. I'm conscious of time. It's now 5:05. So very quickly, I really hope that you will write some of your answers in the chat box as to what you think these emojis are symbolizing. So some of them are songs, some of them are food, some of them are random, but really keen to hear what you think. If you can write your answers in the chat box. A, what do you see? B, C, D. Let me know. Emma, you're not allowed to take part because you know the answers. Let me know that you're still there.
Yeah, we're still here. Just waiting for comments.
Any? Just take a guess. What do you see? I feel like I'm Stephen Mulhern on Catchphrase. What do you see? It's in the picture. Look. Say what you see.
Someone's replied.
Yeah. What's it saying that?
Oh, why can't I see it?
Yeah, so we've got mistletoe and wine, hot chocolate, partridge in a pear tree.
Yay! Well done. All those three are correct. Mistletoe and Wine, the Cliff Richard song, showing our age there. Hot chocolate, excellent. Partridge in a pear tree, that's right. And that last one, it's a herb. I'm going to give you a clue. Again, if you know it, don't say it. It's a herb. You could make tea from it. You might eat it with your lamb. Does that give you a clue? The second one, they're looking for clues. Who are they? What are they? No guesses? Okay, I'll have to tell you. It's mint spy, mince pie, mint spy. Anyway, thank you for taking part in the emoji challenge. I hope it was a little bit of festive fun. So in the summary, we've covered 4 lifestyle areas. So with healthy eating, you may want to consider some healthy Christmas swaps. We're being reminded to be drink aware in terms of sticking to our 14 units. If we want to keep moving, whether that's going for a walk, whether it's just breaking up your screen time and not being sedentary. And finally, in terms of our emotional well-being, if we can be gentle, generous and patient with ourselves, then hopefully we can enjoy a peaceful and calm Christmas whilst also remembering those 5 ways to well-being, including giving. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Have a happy, healthy and safe holiday. We will stop the recording now and I will stop sharing my slide so that you can ask questions if you would like.